Another day cleaning up someone's crap. Thought Rogue, a punk rock girl only 5'4" with her usual red punk glasses, wearing what looked like worn-down gray coveralls. She was bent over scrubbing the inside of a toilet of a public bathroom inside of a beat-down restaurant called Hot Hogs. Those better be spotless when you're through with them, or your ass is fired. You hear me? Growled the boss. He slammed the bathroom door, causing a small part of debris to fall from the ceiling. It fell directly into the toilet, causing tiny pieces of crap to splash to her face. Rogue stormed out of the bathroom, throwing her gray coveralls at her boss. "Clean them yourself, asshole," she said while flipping him off. Rogue arrived to her decrepit house. It looked like it was built with cheap material, a lot of it built with wood and probably infested with haunting spirits and termites. Rogue lives with two of her old high school friends, Arlette and Meadow, all in their mid-20s. Meadow is the tallest, standing at 5'8" tall, with wavy blonde hair and bangs, who never misses a day with her dark eyeliner. She always likes to wear her black punk rock clothes. However, her and her two friends like to dress comfortably when they stay home. Arlette is 5'6.5" tall. She has dyed light gray hair that goes a little past her ears, with bangs. She likes to wear her shades a lot, and anytime going out she too wears all black punk rock clothes. Rogue opened the door to see her two girlfriends relaxing. Meadow was sitting on a long couch with a remote in her hand, skimming through the channels on an old TV. And Arlette was sitting Indian style on a black chair in the kitchen, stuffing her face with Chinese food at an oak table. Meadow glanced over to Rogue with a smirk on her face. "You've arrived earlier from work." Arlette laughed a little. "You lasted a lot longer than expected." She then quickly looked over to Meadow. "Pay up, bitch," she said with a grin. "Who said I was fired in the first place?" snapped Rogue to Arlette. Meadow piped in. "Well, judging by how you actually look happy for once, despite the fact that your face is covered in tiny pieces of shit. Let's face it, Meadow, she hates to work." Rogue slightly glared at Arlette. "Oh, that means a lot coming from you. How many jobs have refused you now?" Arlette shrugged. Don't know. People just don't know talent when they see it," she said in her usual sense of humor. "Screw them. We should start our own band," Meadow said while throwing her arms in the air. Rogue was in a bathroom taking a shower. She raised her voice for the others to hear. "Been there, done that. Hey Meadow, how's your YouTube channel coming?" Meadow rested her head on the palm of her hand and replied, "I'm financially making enough for us to barely get by, but it's basically flatlined." Arlette finished eating. She then plopped herself comfortably next to Meadow on their long couch. Roughly about 30 minutes later, Rogue walked out of the bathroom in her pajamas and sat herself comfortably on a recliner. She then turned her head to face Meadow and Arlette. "So, there's a new horror movie playing at the Nice Theater." "Oh, Swamp Lizard," gleamed Arlette. "Hell yeah," Rogue replied happily. Meadow put her hands over her closed eyes. "You mean the Nice Theater right next to the Snob Hill neighborhood?" "Yeah, so what? We're there to see a movie, not the stuck-up snobs that go there," replied Arlette. "Come on, what's the worst that can happen, Meadow?" asked Rogue. "Famous last words," said Meadow sarcastically. The very next day, the three of them drove to the theater in Rogue's beat-up black and purple car. The weather was cold and cloudy, which slowly began to rain. If looks could kill, they would have all been dead the moment they stepped foot into the theater. The normal-dressed people there glared at their every step, all except for the owner, who was at the concession stand, named Jarrold. Jarrold is a man who looks like a doppelganger of the singer from Mudvayne, especially from the music video, World So Cold. Jarrold was once the three girls' old art teacher. He never liked bullies and would try to help them the best he could. "Don't pay them any attention," he said to the girls, with a smile. "So, what movie you guys getting ready to see?" he asked excitedly. "Swamp Lizard," the girls said together. "Oh, you are going to love it," he said with excitement. He then quickly turned to the back where the popcorn and fountain drinks were. He filled a large bag of popcorn, squirted lots of butter on them, then quickly filled up 3 large cups of their favorite sodas and handed it over to them. "It's on me. You 3 go in and enjoy," Rogue with her tiny frame leaned over and gave Jarl a squeezing hug. As they walked into the room that had a very large projector screen, they looked up to the right where there was a row of stairs that led to many seats. They were suddenly stopped dead in their tracks. Their old high school bullies were sitting in seats 3 rows away from the top. The second they noticed the 3 girls standing motionless at the bottom row, they began to make snide remarks, mocking them and even flipping them off. "Come on, let's just sit here in the front row," suggested Meadow uncomfortably. Rogue couldn't help but to flip off the 3 bullies who were physically abusive to them in the past. As usual, the so-called normal people were glaring at the girls as they were looking for a spot to sit. Finally, the 3 girls found empty seats to the far left. The seats were super comfortable with armrests that had fancy cup holders. The girls sat down just in time for the lights to dim and the trailers to upcoming movies started playing, and then finally the movie began. It was enjoyable. It had its humor, its horror, and suspense. Rogue, Meadow, and Arlette were happy for once to unwind and enjoy themselves after what felt like forever. They stuffed their faces with buttered popcorn and carbonated sodas. The movie ended and Meadow, Arlette, and Rogue sat up and walked out of the theater room while talking about funny and scary scenes they enjoyed most. "Can you guys hold my stuff? I've got to rush to the bathroom," said Meadow as she made a mad dash to the girls' restroom. Arlette was walking next to Rogue, both holding their empty popcorn bags and empty paper cups. Rogue also had Meadow's empty bag and cup as well. The 2 of them were standing by the concession stand waiting for Jarl to come over to give them free refills, who was busy at the moment. "What are you dykes doing here?" said a tall bully named Rod. His 2 friends named Jake and Andy were behind him laughing at his question. Arlette turned around slowly. "We came here to watch a movie just like everyone else," she said. Rod gave her a narrowed side eye. "I don't like your attitude. You better treat me with more respect," he said angrily to her. Rogue spun around quickly. "Respect this," she said while flipping them the bird. Rod lost his cool and shoved Rogue with his hands, while Andy backhanded Arlette to the face, knocking her down to the ground. Rogue lost her balance, causing her to spin around and slam against the counter with her stomach. Rod began to give her a wedgie, causing her underwear to rip. Meadow was walking out of the bathroom. As soon as she caught sight of her friends in danger, she ran like a bat out of hell towards them. With all her might, she kicked Rod from behind, straight to the crotch, causing him to fall face first to the ground. Jarl grabbed a random wooden chair, jumped onto the counter, then leaped over to Andy and Jake and whacked them both against their heads, knocking them out cold. One of the so-called normal people called the cops, which ended up causing Jarl to go to jail. Meadow picked up Rogue, who was sobbing.